I am 21, and I got diagnosed with fibromyalgia last August, so August 2019. I have had pain and issues like that for about 7 years now. And the doctors always put it through, oh, you're just young, you're just having growing pains, that's all it is.
Wow.
And then I had to have surgery on my right hip. That they fixed everything, and I was then bedridden for over a year because something obviously didn't go right. And yeah, since then they was like, okay, you're still in pain, you've got fibromyalgia. And it's very, very sudden, because I asked years ago, I was like, is there a chance, because I have family members with it as well.
Oh, really? Okay.
So I was like, I know my symptoms are very like hers. And they was like, no chance whatsoever, definitely haven't got that. And then it obviously turned out I did. They checked obviously all different kind of arthritises and stuff like that, but then the pain just kept getting worse and worse. And then I've tried every painkiller under the sun. My doctor was like, I can't do nothing else for you. She's like, you've had everything we can do, you've done every treatment, every kind of different therapy, and nothing's working. She's like, there's nothing else we can do except for try and manage your pain, which doesn't really work when you have fibromyalgia.
Yeah.
Not a lot of painkillers will work. The only painkiller I take is tramadol, but because of how addictive it is, I try not to take it that often. Because I do feel after like I take it for like a week straight, I do start feeling like withdrawal symptoms if I haven't took it dead on time.
Wow.
And I don't want to be addicted to anything that strong.
No, that's the thing, isn't it? You're trying to manage the pain, but then not be addicted to painkillers.
Yeah.
So it's like a double-edged sword, isn't it? You know, you manage it, you want to be free of pain, but then you don't want to be addicted to pills. So it's hard to balance. Can you tell us more about fibromyalgia, please? And just
so fibromyalgia is a nerve system. Basically, your nervous system kind of goes crazy throughout your body. So it's hard. Obviously, everybody is different, and everyone will say their stuff is different. So fibromyalgia has like hundreds of different symptoms. That's why doctors struggle to be able to diagnose it.
Okay.
There's such a vast different symptoms. One person could be living their life perfectly fine with it, and the other person can't even walk. So the different levels of how it will affect different people. So I know it affects men differently to women, and so it is. That's why it's so hard for people to feel normal with it, because it's got so many different ways of reacting with you, and every day can be different. So the main big symptoms that affects most people is the pain, obviously. Chronic pain 24/7 all over your body.
Wow.
And then the fibro fog. So it's just, you'll forget words, or you'll be in the middle of a sentence and then completely forget what you're saying. Or you walk into a room to go and get a glass of water, and you walk and you're like, why did I come here? What have I done? Or you forget appointments and stuff like that. And it's things that will affect everyday life, like when did I put the dinner on, or I forgot that it's on, I've burnt my dinner. Little things like that does affect every little bit of your life. And sleep is a massive thing for most people with fibromyalgia. We struggle obviously with the pain, it is uncomfortable, it's irritable, so that doesn't help. But then obviously we have chronic fatigue, so we're always tired, no matter if we can sleep 24 hours, and we'll still wake up just as tired as when we went to bed. I personally am on tablets to help me sleep, which do help. But if I'm in a bad flare, then they don't work at all. I won't get the sleep I need.
So you're dealing with a lot. But when did you say you were diagnosed with it?
I was officially diagnosed August last year, so 2019.
Wow. So pretty recent.
Yeah, definitely.
But knowing that there was something not quite right, you didn't feel yourself.
Yeah. Well, the doctors, as great as I do love our NHS, did take quite a long time to see me and to do anything. So that didn't help. So they knew there was something wrong with my hip, but they just passed it off. If they did the surgery then, I could possibly not have fibromyalgia now. It could have been a lot less. The pain could have been reduced and stuff. And they when they decide, if they can't figure out what it is, they just won't see you. They'll just go, we'll keep cancelling your appointment until we figure out what to actually say to your face.
Yeah.
And that was, when was it? October last year. I finally had an appointment for the first time in 2 years with my doctor. And he was like, we're going to discharge you. I was like, no, you're not. I was like, there's still something not right. I was like, okay, if I have fibromyalgia, that's fine. I was like, but I know there's other stuff. And he has now looked into stuff, and there is other stuff wrong, which is like, well, you was going to discharge me because that's the issue then, is you've been given that status, you've got fibromyalgia. Every problem you have the rest of your life will be, oh, it's just your symptoms, oh, it's just fibro. Even if there is other issues. So a lot of other problems then just get mistreated and make you suffer even more than what you already do.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something that I know affects quite a lot of us, is we have other issues. Because there is a lot, if you have fibromyalgia, you'll have most time you'll have other than conditions like arthritis and other things. So it kind of just all goes into one.
Cool. What impact did that have on your family?
It had a massive effect, to be honest. It was kind of good because a lot of my family turned around and was like, you're just faking, you're just a hypocrite, you can't see that's something wrong with me. Yeah, so obviously when so 6 years, I was about 12 when I first got diagnosed. Yeah. Like, well, not diagnosed, knew I had symptoms, I knew there's something wrong with me. And I was always like, oh, you're hypochondriac, that's all I've ever got called, which was like, I was like, there's something wrong, someone needs to listen. And as soon as I got the diagnosis, everyone was like, oh, there's actually something wrong with you. I was like, yeah. It's like, I told you this. Yeah. And then they'd finally listen. The issue then you have is people still like, oh, it's just in your head.
Yeah.
It's nothing. Because they can't see it. So then that is,
isn't it?
The other side is, they're like, oh, she's not actually in pain. She's just saying that. They don't see it because we get so good at hiding the pain and stuff like, because it's our life. You have two options. You either live your life miserable and doing nothing, or you live your life happy and being the same amount of pain, be doing the life you like, living the life you want. So
yeah, I think that's the key thing, isn't it? You know, is trying to get on with your life, and you know, and it's very easy for us to just give in to things and say, oh, that's it, I can't really achieve much because I'm dealing with this. You know, play the whole victim role in your life rather than like, yes, I'm dealing with this, but I have to find a way of managing it and having some, you know, semblance of a life if I can. So yeah, it's good with that.
Yeah, and it's because if we do too much, we'll then flare up, and then the flare-ups can last. My flare-ups I've had that can last a couple of hours or can last months.
Wow.
So I was around Christmas time, from Christmas till about mid-February, I was in a flare constantly. And you do then get to the point your mood will drop because you can't, you're tired, you're in pain, you still have to go to work every day. Obviously, some people are lucky enough not to. I have to work. So having to then still do a full-time job that I'm on my feet, and it's just, it gets too much. It's like, why me? You kind of stop blaming yourself, but it's not you. Then you have to have a reality check and go, right, okay, what are you doing differently? What can I change? How can I change everything that's going on? How can I get rid of this flare? For me, it was diet. I changed from eating gluten to taking out gluten, and that got me out of my flare. So I know dairy is a massive one for people, and sugar. So then I tried sugar. Sugar did nothing, which I'm grateful because I love chocolate, so I was happy about that. Gluten helps a little bit, so especially when I work, cutting gluten out kind of just helps manage the pain a little bit more to stop the flares. So it's kind of something everyone's like, oh, try your diet. And I was like, diet's not going to work. What difference does it make what I eat? But it actually does make a massive difference.
It is a big difference. Yeah, we don't realize how much, you know, foods and taking in certain nutrients affect our body and the difference it can have to us. You know, even for me, I've had a whole awakening to, you know, nutrition and things like that. It's feeling better. You know, you feel a lot better when you're eating nutritious food and things like that. So yeah, that's good. Like, you can make those differences, and it can have a good impact on your, you know, just your well-being from day to day.
Yeah.
you talked about, I was going to say the type of impact it's had on you, but it's been quite life-changing, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. There's things that it's helped with actually realizing what matters in life and what doesn't in that aspect. It makes you grow up quite a lot. So obviously I technically am quite young and had it from quite young. So I've grew up being in pain. Obviously, then when I meet other people and they talk to me about their childhood and their teenage years, I'm like, oh, mine was nothing like that. I spent most of mine in hospital.
Yeah.
Like, but that then makes you the person. So I don't know what I'd be like if I didn't have all these problems. I wouldn't be the person I am today. I wouldn't have I wouldn't be able to help other people. So that's a massive thing, having support groups. Like there's so many, like in social media, that you can connect with each other. The second I joined them, I realised I wasn't alone, and I was like, okay, I can put all this suffering I've had to good use and help support other people, and we all support each other, and that kind of, it makes you feel like you're a little family, which is really nice, because it can be really lonely when you're in a house full of people who are normal, so that it's always you like, you look around to your friends and they're like, they're living their life, they're all happy, and I have to go, oh, I've done something this week, I can't do it the next week because I've done my one thing.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the real positives about social media. That's the positive side, isn't it?
Yeah.
Talk about social media where you can have a community there and you can share experiences and help each other. And you expressing yourself and telling others about the difficult times you have is actually helping you as well, because you feel better when you're sharing and not having to deal with it yourself, and sharing with people that understand it, rather than saying, oh no, it's just her moaning again, and like there's anything wrong with her, it's just all in her head. So I think that's great, and that's what I've seen as well when I've looked at people to interview and to share their truth, is the communities. It's great. I think it's so great. Where
definitely.
You have a platform you can share and you can talk about, how your day's been or what you're dealing with this week, what's been a struggle, what you found the success this week. And it's just great. There's a platform where you can share that. And as you said, feel a part of something, feel a family. Because that's all we need, ain't it? We need it as human beings to feel a part of something and feel like we're part of a family. And like you said, if people don't understand what you're going through, it's very difficult for them to connect with you and give you the type of support you need.
Yeah, and it's not, you don't want to put a strain on your own family and friends constantly talking about all your issues. It's because obviously it's struggle for them to see you like that. That's what I don't think we understand as well, is say your parents are watching you suffer and they can't do nothing about it. So it's nice for them to be able, for you to be able to go to somebody else with all your problems, talk, they're going, yeah, I feel exactly the same. It's like, okay, that's one stress now I haven't got to put on somebody else.
Yes, I see what you mean. It's not quite the same, but it's got, that term mood hoover, where you feel like you're always coming with something negative to say to people rather than, did you really want to hear about, I've had an awful day today and I've not been able to do anything? Is that, you see what I mean? That whole, like you almost don't feel like telling them because, they're going to worry and it's going to upset them. And, it just
definitely
has a chain reaction of emotions that you don't really want to put in your family. So I totally get where you're coming from in that regards, because, it's like if something bad happens and you're just like, oh, don't want to tell them, because how are they going to receive this information? Is this going to have a negative impact on them or their day or whatever? So, I get where you're coming from. Is there a cure for it?
There isn't a cure. Scientists and doctors haven't got enough information about fibromyalgia yet. They are trying to find out and understand it more, but because it is so vast, they can't figure out why it happens. They have a thing that they think where it starts is maybe from trauma. So say like if you've had a car accident, that can then start from there, or it could be something very stressful, like say pregnancy. Once you've given birth, that can then cause a mother to have fibromyalgia.
Wow.
Which is really because of the trauma of birth. It can be stress related, or you can just be born with it. So there's lots of different ways, and I think that's why it's so difficult, is not knowing. Like, I know I have friends that know exactly when it started for them, but for me, I've always been in pain. So like,
really?
since I can remember. So I believe that it either happened when I was really young, something's happened, or I've had it since birth. There's been definitely times in my life that it's got worse. That obviously stress and stuff with like school, that I think then triggered it to get even worse, like step up levels. So yeah, there's not a cure. So they try and put us on antidepressants because it is very, very mental, they say. So when I first got diagnosed, my doctor turned around to me and went, if you can be happy, don't stress, you'll be fine. That's the only, I haven't saw him since. He has not learned to want to see me. That is his only word for me to be able to manage the big thing that he's just told me. Basically, I'm going to be in pain forever. Just to be happy and don't stress. It's hard. You can't go, oh, I'm not going to stress. That's not how life works. So hopefully.
Yeah, go on, sir.
Yeah, so hopefully the antidepressants they put you on is meant to be like mine. It's amitriptyline. So that obviously helps me sleep at night and is meant to help nerve pain. I can't say it helps much my pain. It does help my sleep majority of nights. That's the only thing they try and put you on. And for some people, that really isn't what they need. So some people just go completely free of everything and try natural ways of doing it, which I think there's definitely, it's all very trial and error with healthy your symptoms, is figuring out what works for you. And we all hope that one day there'll be more doctors that understand, because there's not a lot. I'm lucky that my doctors do, but there's a lot of doctors that don't believe it. It's a false thing. It's not a real diagnosis. So hopefully one day we'll have more information about it and more help, ways that we can help it. So hopefully.
How frustrating was it when the doctors were saying it was all in your head? Because you've had a lot of that. You're saying some family members as well, and how does that make you feel?
Yeah, it definitely doesn't help, because you start believing that it is in your head. You believe that it isn't true. It's just there's something wrong, like there's something mentally wrong with you. You can't be. Why? And you question, you like, why am I in pain? Is it mental? And then you question yourself. You question everything about you. It's like, is there something causing the pain? It's like, I don't ask for it. So I don't want to be in pain. And that's when people go, it's in your head. It's like, I'm not going to choose to be in this amount of pain over not being in pain. It's like, it affects my life too much. It's like, who's going to sit there and choose to not be able to walk properly or do anything in their life? Nobody's going to choose that. Everyone's going to want to be pain free and live the life they want to live. So it's very mentally draining, getting people to believe you, especially meeting new people, and trying to explain to them what is wrong with you, and them not really going, oh yeah, my auntie has that, she's fine, she does that. It's like, oh, not what I'm saying. So it's kind of, you have to learn to kind of ignore people, which is really horrible, really, but there is a lot of people that won't believe it. And it's very much, you kind of have, if you ask every person fibromyalgia, what the 3 things they hate people to say is, oh, have you tried yoga? Because yoga is meant to be apparently a massive cure. Oh, my auntie has that and she's fine, so you're being over dramatic. Or, oh, have you tried relaxation? Not gonna lie, relaxation can help you calm yourself down. It does not help fibromyalgia as a whole. It just helps mentally calm you down. So we get a lot of people giving us suggestions that we all just go, oh, thanks, yeah. That was like, I can't believe you just said that to me. It's like, it's the worst thing you could say. So yeah.
What does the pain feel like, Meg? How can you describe?
So it's different. So all over is like a dull ache constantly. So my joints are definitely one of my worst places. All my joints that they just feel tight. So it feels like all the muscles like contracting constantly, and it feels like you constantly want to move them, but then moving them then causes extra pain. It's really weird. And it's the most, when you have like a really bad flare, isn't it? It feels like someone is getting a spoon and scooping all your muscle and everything out of your body. Like it's it's really hard. Like, that's what doctors go, what, how does it feel? And it's like, there's so many different pains that you kind of you're kind of so used to it now that you're like, I don't know, it's just there. The pain is there. I'm used to what this is. It's like, but yeah, it's there's always a delay. And then it depends if you've done too much, the pain will then trigger, and it can be stabbing and then scooping, and it's just
there's a mixture
of everything.
How does this affect you day to day?
So I have every day is different. Waking up and not knowing how you're going to be, if I can manage to walk today, or if I'm going to be absolutely fine and be like everybody else, and not having that uncertainty makes you stress even more. So I have like sisters' weddings coming up that I get really stressed, because if I wake up and I can't put that big smile on and be all happy, then it's like, how am I going to manage to hide it? And that's constantly, it's like, how am I going to hide my pain? How am I going to hide the stress and the tiredness? Because some days, as much as we try, people to go and go, you're not having a good day. It's like, no. So it's constantly like, it's the unknown. There's days that I will sit there and I'll go, why me? And I'll completely go down. I'll be like having a really down day, and you have to kind of accept that that's normal. That you are going to have the bad days and you're going to have the good days, and it's finding what works for you, finding a balance. So currently I am trying to find the right amount of steps and exercise I can do in one day that isn't going to cause me to flare up for the next few days. So if I do too much walking, the next few days I could not be able to move. So we're trying to make sure it's finding that balance of things is definitely a massive strain, and trying to figure out how you're basically trying to learn what your body wants and accepting that this is it. Okay, this is what your life is. How can I live it to the full, but keeping everything very relaxed, kind of thing. So it's finding what hurts and stuff like that. It's kind of different, hard one really to try and figure out.
So in regards to your sleeping, you say you have trouble sleeping. Do you remember having a good night's sleep recently, or?
No, it's weird, because obviously some days I will feel like I've slept loads, and like people go, oh, you sleep loads, you're always asleep, but the sleep never actually affects, like, it's never actually sleep. Like, you still wake up and you feel like you've not been asleep. So it's always, so yes, I can sleep, but I'm always tired. So either way, I am tired. So if I don't sleep, like last night I had a really bad night's sleep, then I still have the same amount of energy if I did have a really great night's sleep. I still am like that dull brain. Sorry, my dad just came back from work. He's like, what are you doing? So yeah, it's a difficult one. We sleep. I've had days that I literally come back from work and all I can do is sleep. I will eat and I fall asleep because my body needs it. And I always find that if I have a few days that I can't sleep, I would then make up for it. The next, like, say, a weekend, I would just spend the entire weekend asleep because my body is now going, right, we've not had enough sleep this week to be able to get you to process. We need you to sleep now. So it's weird how your body can literally click and go, yeah, you're going to sleep today. No sleep.
Okay. So, yeah, I guess that's the thing, isn't it? You have to have such a great relationship with your body, and just with bills and responding to it, instead of being like, oh no, you know what, let me fight through this, because then the impact of that on another day isn't worth it. So you got to be very in tune with how you're feeling, I guess, is how you go day to day. Is making sure you have enough exercise, because we all need exercise, but it's just doing enough where it's not the detriment to the rest of your week or what have you, or the rest of the day, and doing enough so you can still feel fit and healthy, but not doing it to damage the rest of your week or something, and for you to be worn out and fatigued for the rest of it.
Definitely. It's like, you meet new people and they're like, oh, just go for a long walk, you'll be fine. It's like, a long walk to me is like you doing a marathon. I was like, I can walk about 30 minutes. If I do any more, I know I'm going to start causing a flare. So obviously I can do 30 minutes, rest for like an hour, and then I can do another 30 minutes. That's not an issue. But obviously then some days I can walk downstairs and that's about it. So it is definitely kind of learning what your body does, and it's that is what's the hard bit of when you first get diagnosed. It's like, right, this is what you've got, but then it's kind of, okay, what do I need to do? And you don't, that's the support that you don't get from the doctors, you then get from the support pages on social media. 100%. So I never knew half things. There's a podcast that I read, that I was listening to, and she's basically saying that stop hating your body, because your body is also trying to fight a disease. The disease is fibro. So you've got to kind of love your body and hate the disease, and try and figure out how to not feed the disease what it wants. You've got to kind of feed your body what it wants, and it's that kind of, it helps them going, you need to figure out that platform of what foods trigger you, what steps, how many steps trigger you, and it is a long process. And there's people who's had it years that still haven't found everything. If you can get the little bits underway and accept that you can't do everything like a normal healthy person, that's one big step to being able to conquer all the issues.
Cool. What do you need, any initial support on your day-to-day, or
some days it's hard, like it depends. So obviously current lockdown has been great for me because I've now to actually have that little process of how to start looking after myself and listening, because I haven't got to go to work. So that, it actually, in a way, lockdown has been really positive for me to be able to listen and give it what it wants. And if I do overdo it, then I can rest. It's not like I've got to go to work and try and battle through. But yeah, some days I will just have to. Some days I use my walking stick. That's another, like, if it's that bad, I don't feel like my legs are going to be able to hold me, I'll use my walking stick out. People wise, it's more mental support. So knowing that I've got someone there, if I know I'm just gonna, I'm like, right, I just need a good cry. It's like it's all getting a bit too much, and someone's there just to be able to give you their shoulder and go, right, it's okay. This is what we're gonna do, and then be logical. Because sometimes if you're in that much of a flare or having such a bad day, logic goes out the head. It's like, okay, they'll come in and they go, right, this is what we're going to do. You can go here, you do this, or you don't need to do this, I can do that today. And kind of just taking support bits off you and giving you other jobs, either in the house or at work, and going, you can do this, or oh, you just have a rest day today, that's fine. It's just that kind of mental and logic that some days we definitely need.
No, I hear you. And your family, they involved with that support, your support network?
Yeah, definitely. So my dad's great. Me and my dad are very close. And it's sometimes it's like why they don't always understand, but then you've got to get that no one's fully going to understand everything. But as long as they know that if I need them, they're there and they can be there for, if that's help me out of bed or to get me downstairs or just bring me my drinks and food for the day so I can just stay in bed all day. Having that, them understanding and going, okay, it's that kind of day, that does help just with everything kind of thing. So yeah.
Good. No, it's good, isn't it? You need that. As well as your community online, you also need them in everyday life to have people around you that, allow you to, who have some understanding of what you need on those days. They may not know the details of exactly how much pain you're in, but they know that, you need sleep today, so leave you alone. Grab water, grab you some food, whatever it is, but leave you to it, which is important. So how do you remain so positive, Meg? How do you keep positivity going through all this pain and
helping others with the problem, like with the same condition? Definitely is helping. It's not an everyday thing. There's days that I wake up and go, it's not my day, I'm not being positive, that's that. But then that's normal. But with being positive, it's knowing that especially my social media, like I've had comments today going, you give me hope that there is positive things to come, which definitely help, because it's all I'm doing is showing them what I am doing. I am still trying to figure out how it works in my body. So I'm not doing nothing different. I'm not trying to put a face on. I'd show them the truth. I show them my good and my bad. And knowing to them that they have an option to be able to get slightly better and have more of a life helps me then, because I'm like, okay, I know I'm helping them, but they also help me, because that them coming back to me going, you're really helping. It's like, okay, I'm doing something right. If they're thinking I'm getting, because they see things before I do, so they'll see patterns of my, like, if when I'm being happy or when I'm getting down or when I'm having flares, more than you do yourself, because you kind of forget. They're like, yeah, you've kind of been up and down the past few weeks, what's going on? And they're like, I'm like, oh. And then it kind of makes you realise, yes, the support, being the words, them being, me showing them support and them giving it back definitely helps keep the mood up and making progress. So I am trying to, at the moment, do little workouts and actually finish the workout and go, okay, I'm not in, like, you're always going to be in more pain, but not a massive amount. It's like, okay. And then you leave like a few hours later, it's like, okay, I can still move, knowing that you haven't overdone it. Is I'm like, oh, okay, I've listened, I'm learning something.
Yeah,
definitely does help.
Oh, that's really good. That is. You talked about lockdown, that it was quite a positive thing for you, because a lot of people thinking, you know, all that time to yourself, you know, the mental health we could talk about during lockdown. You said it was a positive. Could you talk more about that?
Yeah. So at first, I was a bit like, oh, what am I going to do? I'm literally stuck in the house, doing nothing, can't do anyone, not seeing anybody, which was massive, because obviously all my friends, I was at work. I worked with my friends. The way I kind of just coped was at work. It's like you kind of have to put people first, and I was like, that's fine. That's that. So then being all on your own, kind of having to listen to yourself, and it's a bit like, at first I was like, this is terrible. Like, what am I supposed to do? But then as it went on and longer it went on, it's like, okay, well, let's do something with this. And you have no choice. There's nothing to do. So you kind of have to listen to your body, and you'll feel the flares more because you can't do anything. But then you try when you can. Obviously, when we could go out for like a walk or something, you went out and it's like, oh, okay. And then if you did a little bit too much, you're hitting like, okay, so what did I do that day? And then you kind of recall it, like, okay, so I did that many steps. That didn't work, so let's reduce it next time. And doing that little bits like that, I had the time to be able to go right and work out what my little bit of triggers are, or what works for me, how much rest I need that day. I got my tablets. So at first I was taking my tablets all different days. I've got a routine of my tablets, which then help for the next day that I'm not sleepy, like really sleepy in the morning, because obviously being sleeping tablets in the mornings, you get like a hangover effect. So making that sure that's the minimum it can be definitely helps. Obviously then the down days of lockdown didn't help because you couldn't see anybody. So you then just kind of felt a bit lonely, like, okay, I haven't got that support. But then that's when then you reach out to obviously social media people, which definitely helped then. So it literally just helped me listen to my body a lot more, and find out all my little triggers and what works for me and what doesn't work for me, which definitely is something that you don't have time when you're at work all day, so you just want to come home and sleep. It's definitely time that I never would normally have got to listen to my body.
Cool. Do you have any advice for someone struggling with the fibromyalgia?
Yeah, so I'd definitely say reach out on social media, because knowing that you're not alone is a massive thing. So I didn't know anybody with it, and since reaching out, there's so many people, and you know that how you're feeling, that's mentally, physically, there is other people feeling exactly the same. But then also is people that have had those days and figured out ways to help them. So like if you're having constant flares, then you can go, right, look for food triggers, look for step triggers if you're doing too many steps. And it kind of just helps you be logical. Like I said earlier as well, it's trying to work out the logic of it all, which when sometimes you're not in the right mental state to figure out what logic is. It's like, no, I'm in pain, that's not going to work. It's actually having that person go, this is what I've had, just give it a go. And it's just that not knowing you're alone definitely helps. And sometimes going to your doctor, I've learned that sometimes you do have to keep pestering your doctor for them to listen, which is bad. That you shouldn't have to be nagging your doctor, but sometimes if you know something's not right, you need to keep going and keep asking for help. And there is help out there. It's different ways, and they'll be able to different pain management people that will help, or acupuncture helps with some. Didn't help for me, but it helps with some. There's just different ways, but then that's how I found out a lot of ways is on social media. Literally, it was a saviour for me, because it just stopped me feeling so alone and so negative. Because it's like, okay, obviously there's certain pages that aren't the greatest pages, and a lot of people say there's some that is constant just negative, or some that is complete lies that people are trying to put a big front of going, oh, I'm fine.
That's the thing, isn't it? Yeah,
so it definitely is finding the right people. I have people that have had it quite a while, who have gone through different treatments, that then help show people who's just being diagnosed what to do or what can help, which definitely, it just all definitely helps. Kind of the support is a massive deal when you've got fibro.
Cool. You've started your own business recently.
I have, during lockdown as well. There's sometimes your head just takes over, which definitely doesn't help. So I knew wearing face masks was going to come at some point. It's definitely going to hit us at some point. And hair scrunchies and stuff. I was like, okay, I can do those. Never sewed ever before. And I got a little sewing machine and started, and I loved it. It kind of took all the talking and stuff that goes on in your head, which happens because your head would scream about the pain. So it kind of just took that away, my head to go somewhere else, so I could cope, kind of thing. And then I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm making loads. There's only so many face masks and hair scrunchies one person can actually wear. So I was like, okay, I might try and sell them. And it's been great. There's sometimes that stress I had the other week, I had too many orders and I was getting really stressed. I was like, oh, I can't cope. But then most of the people who order from me know that I have a chronic illness. They know that some days aren't my day, that if I try and do anything, it's just going to go wrong because my head's not there, which is good. And we all can, that way we can support each other. But it's definitely been something that it gives you a bit of confidence as well, knowing that someone loves the projects that you're making that actually help you while helping them to have something. So it's kind of a gift that I'm giving them a gift, that they're giving me a gift by loving my products. And currently trying to look at different bringing new products in. That's quite cool. It's all stuff new that gives you little projects, because projects are definitely one that helps, especially like helping give yourself in those little bits to help keep your head busy, so you don't end up sitting there dwelling over the pain and stuff like that. Definitely helps.
What platforms can people find you on, Megan?
On Facebook. I'm not as much on Facebook due to not wanting to bore family members, because a lot of my family was like, you're always talking about it. So that's why I made a Instagram account. It's called My Life with Fibro and Endo, which I post most days about my general life, the good and the bad, and then trying to give the people that little pick me up that they sometimes need, just knowing that they're not alone, that they're loved, because that's definitely one I see feel very lonely. So it's knowing that they have that someone to come talk to if need be. You have a lot of people, it's like, have you got, or need advice? I went to people and went, have you got any advice for this particular thing? And they'll come back going, yeah, this kind of thing worked for me, you try that. Or have you got any videos? And you kind of all then talk to everyone. I have friends now who are all over the country, Australia, America, that I feel like are closer than some of the people that I've known since I was like 3.
Yeah.
Because we relate so much that you kind of then just go, oh, how are you? You just check up on people. And it's just that little text that sometimes you're sitting there, you're not on a good day, you read your message, and you're like, oh, how are you feeling today? It's like, oh, someone's actually thought to talk, like, ask me. It's kind of that nice that you've always got that little family.
Cool. And the name of your company was?
Creations with Meg.
Cool. And how can people, you know?
So that is currently on Instagram. So if you go onto that it is also been advertised on my chronic illness page. So that's quite cool. So you always can find it on that. If anyone finds me and anything and messages me, I can help them find the way to the website. Well, Instagram. As the business grows, I might actually get a bit like a website going, but currently I didn't expect it to actually go as far as it has, to be honest. I was like, oh, there's only a few people buy it, and then more and more people find the page. So
that's very good. And I just want to thank you for coming on my show. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for having me.
It's all right, and you're welcome back anytime, Megan.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.